The bias for this market is a bearish downtrend. EMA is pointing down, price is making a series of lower highs, lower lows, and I found this downtrend working lower that had a minimal break, but this break is so tiny and overall structure is so bullish that I still expect for price to create at least one additional move down. Now, since this is a bearish downtrend, I want to sell, and I want to sell a high probability setup. Now, a high probability setup would be a two-legged pullback, second entry at the key entry point, and the key entry point would be this 21 bar exponential moving average. You guys can see that we have a shortened uptrend with the break at a new extreme, indicating that it is safe for me to sell. But this is just a first entry short. This is the first bar in this bullish move up that we triggered below. So I'm not selling this because this is not a legit second entry short just yet. It is a hidden second entry because there is no trigger below this bar. And on a smaller time frame, this would look like a first lag, first entry short, second lag, second entry short. But we are not on a smaller time frame. We are looking at 2000 tick chart, and I want to see a legit second entry short. Price managed to push above exponential moving average in the form of a two-legged pullback, and this is exactly why I'm looking for two-legged pullback. This is how market likes to move, and this is the high probability setup. But we pushed above exponential moving average, and this is what it's called EMA gap bar. This is the first bar since the entire downtrend move down that managed to close above EMA. Every single time price remained below EMA for multiple hours, and this was the first bar that managed to close above, and this is generally a good opportunity to take a sell after a two-legged pullback. I was really hoping to get a lower high here to tick higher, instant reversal down and trigger a failed second entry short failure because the overall bias is still quite bearish, but we didn't get the trigger, and this is just now still a continuation of the move down without a lower high. And the market is going to open in 4 minutes. I'm resuming the video after open because we may have a potentially second entry short forming at multiple key entry points. We'll see if we can get the trigger high and instant reversal down. You guys can see that the price created two-legged pullback, additional move up, strong push below EMA, and right now we're continuing in a bearish overall structure. Price is pushing lower. Let's see. And we got the trigger, so I'm going to enter. I'm going to chase it with a stop order. I'm going to move my stop loss 1 tick above the signal bar. I'm going to go for 8 ticks, and let's see if we can get the scalp. I'm looking at second entry short, multiple key entry points, a little bit of a breakout pullback pattern, big bearish bar. Let's see if we can get it. Not really the follow through you want to see here. Getting a little bit stacked. We are stalling a bit here, but I'm still holding this trade. This is now a pure congestion, so you guys cannot enter on a failed second entry long here. But I still have multiple key entry points that are holding price. I still think we can eventually push lower. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. Price is really working like this. Come on. Couple more ticks and we can get filled here. Problem, this is right now a congestion and you can get a little failed breakout pullback. So I'm really tempted to exit out of this. But I gotta hold this. Second entry short, multiple key entry points. Trendline is holding price. This support that now acts as a resistance is holding, and the EMA is holding. This is a breakout pullback pattern. Second entry short, big bearish bar. I put my stop loss above these swings so I can use the price action structure to help me protect my trade. We're a few ticks away from getting stopped out, from getting filled here. Come on. Come on, we need a couple more ticks for these 2 points. We now have a breakout pullback pattern of this small congestion. I was actually supposed to go for 7 ticks because I'm using my stop order entry. It's a little bit unfortunate here. And we may finally get out of this trade. Let me see. We need a couple more ticks. Actually, I'm going to tighten this trade right here at break even, because right now we're really going sideways. We really didn't manage to get my scalp as quickly as I would like. So in case, come on, one more tick or two more ticks we need to tick through, and we got filled. Perfect. So this was our first trade for the day. A little they made us work for it. Overall bias is still very bearish. See if we can get the runner. So at the beginning of the day, we had a bearish downtrend working lower, we had the micro break and a new low, but this is such a minimal break that I didn't even count it. Then we have a two-legged pullback correction. Market opened at this area, continue pushing higher, and then it pushed back below EMA. Since it's pushing back below EMA, it's confirming and resuming the overall bearish structure. And you guys can see that the bars are fairly small. This is not a big erratic move down. So this is a potential indication of a strong bearish downtrend, and I drew a trading range first, but once this setup didn't even push to the upside and we just reversed to the downside, this made me think that we may eventually continue pushing lower, and there may even potentially be a spike and channel pattern like this that is fitting slightly better. We still have a little bit of empty area right here, but once we broke below this key level, this is a breakout pullback pattern, new low, and I want to sell a high priority setup. First entry short, second entry short, big bearish bar, 3 key entry points. I had this downtrend at the time, which I still really like. A big bearish bar, resistance is holding, EMA is holding, and the trend line is holding. I wouldn't have entered this felt second entry long because it is way too congested, but this is the additional way to enter a congestion. This is a congestion by this time. It broke lower, pulled back, tested the congestion, the same thing it tested its trading range, and then it gave you a lower high, additional entry to take a congestion, and you're taking the lower high with the direction of overall trend. So we get to witness a 2 breakout pullbacks pattern. First breakout pullback pattern of this, breakout, pullback to this trading range, and this is now a micro trading range right here that we broke out of and pulled back. So this is the first breakout pullback, and this is the second breakout pullback, lower high, additional way to enter a congestion. Looking back, this was quite good to enter, but there was a new high, first entry long, second entry long failure, but by this time it's too congestive, multiple bars stacked. I'm going to be holding it on. I'm going to be tightening it eventually. All right, quickly resuming the video as our runner just got stopped at the, I believe at the 2-point mark, 75. Yeah, so we got exactly 2 points. So we basically scalped out full on this one. But right now price is consolidating basically sideways for 20, 25, 30 bars. There's really no clear bias at this point on, but overall structure is still quite bearish. So I would expect eventually for price to continue in bearish downtrend. Bearish downtrend is continuing. We broke out of this consolidation, and most breakouts of these consolidations, congestions will fail. There was a new low, first entry short, second entry short, failed breakout out of this consolidation. Market pulled back into trading range, gave you even a lower high setup, touched the EMA, confirmed the key entry point, and market continued pushing lower. Now I have this channel working to the downside. I'm just basically looking for a reliable channel that would offer me a high probability setup at this key entry point, because the structure is clearly bearish. You guys can see a lot of small bars. They're just slowly but surely working, even though it doesn't look like this, even though it looks like the market is going to reverse from here any moment. But that's how these downtrends are designed, and beginner traders a lot of times like to pick these bottoms, but you need to resist the urge and you need to only focus on with trend entries. And the trend is right now down, the bias is bearish, there is no significant movement above the EMA. Every single little push above EMA was completely rejected and price sold off instantaneously. So I'm just looking for price to offer me a second entry short at some of the key entry points here. People are taking profits, market is correcting, but even the short-term bullish correction has a break in a new extreme, which is indicating and telling me from the price action perspective that buyers are no longer in control, but exponential moving average keeps holding price. At this point on, I'm expecting for price to push below EMA and resume the overall bearish structure, but I'm not picking top right here as long as we are above the EMA. This is still quite a strong, decent bearish downtrend, a lot of small bars working hard, but I need to respect the bullish correction and I need to jump at the right time and at the right place. If I was to sell here, I really would only be picking a top, and I don't want to pick top. I don't want to gamble. I want to wait for sure high probability setup. All right, traders, quickly resuming video, and I'm going to take engulfing entry on this lower high setup. I'm going to move my stop loss 1 tick above the single bar. I'm going to go for 8 ticks, going to move my runner at these lows, and I'm looking at resumption of a downtrend, and let's see if we can get a lower high setup here. and we got filled. Perfect. Idea behind this trade was basically I'm gonna draw the congestion. I have a lot of breakout pullback patterns. This is going to be breakout pullback pattern day because I'm looking at the congestion and we either going to fade the breakout. If we break to the upside, we would fade it and sell it because we want to fade it with the overall direction of a trend, or we can enter an additional way to enter congestion, meaning we will wait for price to break out of this congestion. We will wait for the breakout to fail and pull back in the trading range. And this looked like a big bullish bar at the very start of the forming, and it closed really bearish, which is telling you that everybody started selling at the very end of the bar and closed below EMA. So this is now a lower high of this high, breakout pullback pattern. 2 key entry points are holding price and expect new low of this downtrend, and I expect still a continuation of our overall bearish structure. So for that reason, this is my second trade for the day. And we had a similar breakout pullback pattern right here that I talk about. Breakout pullback, additional way to enter congestion. And you can even treat this as a this is a perfect examples of these congestions because we have a consolidation congestion, break higher. This is how you fade the breakout with the overall direction of a trend. Most breakouts of these congestions will fail, and price broke to the downside. It has to pull back into congestion because these breakouts will fail 90% of the time. It failed, retested the EMA, same thing right here. This right here is a repeat pattern of this, and it pulled back down, pulled back down. Even the signal bar looks almost identical. Look at this, guys. So this is why I read analysts, and this is the high probability setup. I'm not interested in picking top. I'm not interested in chasing the market at these lows. I want price to come to the key entry points right here, or right here, and sell the high probability setup. So we'll see if we can get the rudder. There are a lot of corrections, so we may not get one, but I'm going to hold it if we get to these lows. Right, guys, so these were my 2 trades. This was the first second entry short. We entered on a stop entry below this bar right here. This is where we got our scalp and our runner. It just got hit here, and unfortunately, had I kept it slightly higher, I would have been able to capitalize and catch a bigger runner. And then our second trade was this lower high that I entered on engulfing entry, and our runner just got hit at break-even again, but there was no runner after that. I haven't been done this early in quite some time, and it's a nice change to be done this early. So if you made it to the very end of the video, you're probably enjoying the content. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.